Welcome. If you work with people, and especially if you work with students, you know that relationships are just everything. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful tool to help you build those relationships, restorative language. This is part one, where we're going to lay all the groundwork for more empathetic and honestly, a more effective way to communicate. So let's just start with the big question that's at the heart of everything we do, right? Whether you're a teacher in a classroom, a counselor, an administrator, heck, even in your own life. How do you actually communicate effectively? What does that even look like day to day? Well, we're about to explore a framework that gives us some really clear answers. But before we can jump into the how, we've got to understand the why. The entire approach we're talking about today is built on this one core principle. And it all comes back to community. And here it is. This quote from Ted Wachtel, it's just so key. Restorative practice isn't just some fuzzy, feel-good idea. He calls it the science of relationships and community. It's about how we build, how we maintain, and how we repair our connections with each other. This is the bedrock of a positive school culture where students can actually feel safe and seen. Okay, so now that we have our foundation, let's kind of zoom out and look at the whole map of restorative language. This is going to help us see the bigger picture before we zoom right back in on what we're focused on today. So as you can see, restorative language has three main branches. You've got restorative communication, affective language, and restorative questions. Now for today, in part one, we're going to put all our energy into that first foundational piece, the one that really holds everything else up, restorative communication. All right, let's get into it. The best way I've found to understand restorative communication is to think of it like building a puzzle. It's made up of four absolutely essential pieces that have to fit together perfectly to create the whole picture. So let's build it together, piece by piece. So, what are these pieces? Let's unpack the four components of restorative communication. Each one is totally distinct, but you're going to see how they really need each other to work. Okay, first piece on the board. This is our corner piece, right? The anchor. It's relationship. And what's so powerful about this is how simple it is. Positive communication builds relationships. Negative communication, well, it degrades them. Every single word we choose, every interaction with a student or a colleague is either strengthening that connection or it's chipping away at it. See, it all comes back to relationships. Now, let's click the next piece into place, recognition. And while this is such a crucial distinction to make, behavior is something people do. Their value is something they have. Restorative communication absolutely demands that we separate a student's actions from their inherent worth. We can and we must address a behavior without ever devaluing the person behind it. Okay, time for our third piece, respect. And you know what? This one starts by looking in the mirror. To be truly respectful, especially when things get tense, we have to understand our own triggers. By recognizing what pushes our buttons and taking a second to reaffirm our own dignity, we can choose to communicate with respect, even when we completely disagree with what someone is saying or doing. And here it is, our final piece, the one that really locks it all together, being responsible. This isn't just about pointing fingers at what the other person did. It's about owning the impact of our own words. We are each responsible for how our communication lands on someone else. This is where we take our good intentions and put them into action through reconciliation, repair, and bringing that person back into the community. So there we have it. All four pieces are on the board and our puzzle is complete. Now, let's just take a step back and see what this whole picture really means for you and your day-to-day practice. And here it is, the full framework in one shot. These 4 Rs are the engine that makes restorative communication go. We build the relationship, we practice recognition by separating the person from their behavior, we manage ourselves so we can communicate with respect, and we take responsibility for our impact. That's the whole picture. But this isn't just a theory to memorize. It's about becoming a more restorative person. So I want to leave you with this question. Think about your next conversation, maybe with a student, a colleague, or, hey, even someone at home tonight. Where do you see these 4 components showing up? Where could they make a real difference? Just thinking about that, that's the first step to making your communication truly restorative.